Today on Ag Etc. I visit with Ryan Armbrust from the Kansas Forest Service over a pesky weed known as Asian bush honeysuckle. We discuss several options for controlling this weed taking over many Kansas fields and pastures, along with their new service with loaning out equipment free of charge for helping control this invasive species. Then I visit with this week's Young Leader in Ag. Finally, I speak with Northeast Area Extension Agronomist Stu Duncan over updates across the state in crop production. We discuss some strategies producers can use in preparation for some dry weather ahead. It's all coming up on Ag Etc. Stay tuned.
Watch Ag AM in Kansas online at agaminkansas.com.
With Kansas Farm Bureau health plans, you'll find affordable Medicare supplement coverage that helps cover certain out-of-pocket expenses Medicare doesn't cover. We encourage you to compare our rates. Contact a Farm Bureau financial services agent near you or visit kfbhealthplans.com. Medicare supplements insured by Members Health Insurance Company, Columbia, Tennessee. Not connected with or endorsed by the U.S. or state government.
This segment brought to you by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
Welcome back to Ag AM in Kansas. I'm Britton Rucker from the Kansas Forest Service. I have with me now Ryan Armbrust to cover several options for controlling the Asian bush honeysuckle. Welcome, Ryan.
Thank you.
Ryan, you are encouraging producers to treat in the fall because if you don't, this could potentially just run rampant.
Yeah, controlling bush honeysuckle is a bit of a challenge no matter what time of year you select. And one of the best times of year we can have if you want to really make your labor and your chemical and all of your efforts go the furthest and take the biggest bite out of that bush honeysuckle infestation really is fall.
Mm-hmm. And what is the easiest way to identify Asian bush honeysuckle?
Well, it tends to be this time of year especially. It's one of the last large green shrubs out there that's still just really bright green. It looks real healthy and green because that's one of the advantages it has over some of our native plants is that it leaves out early and it also stays green real late and it can shade out some of its competition. Additionally, this time of year, it has really noticeable red berries sort of borne on the leaf axils right against the stem. It's pretty easy to identify even at highway speeds this time of year. It's the dense green understory out there in our woodlands and field edges.
And for people that don't know, why does this pose a threat to our species?
Yeah, so it's sort of hard to get your head wrapped around sometimes of how a plant can be a bad plant, especially if it's not out there in our fields, getting in our way of, planting corn, soybeans, wheat. But this is really a threat to a lot of our edges, a lot of our woodlands, and even a lot of our open areas because bush honeysuckle actually will, like I mentioned, shade out any competition that it would have, which could include a lot of our natural regeneration of oak woodlands, of some of our understory plants that are used by everything from insects all the way up into birds and large mammals. And it also actually secretes a chemical compound in its roots that actually suppresses and limits germination of desirable species as well. So it really is a kind of an unfair plant out there, and it's really stopping the regeneration, stopping the forest type and the vegetation type, no matter where it is, of what would be more functional and more beneficial.
So where is it primarily located in Kansas?
Yeah, you can find bush honeysuckle really heavy infestations in eastern Kansas. I would say the eastern third of the state. But we've found it and documented in Hutch, in Salina, in Hayes, all over Wichita. It's primarily, you can find it almost anywhere you go in the Kansas City metro area. Going on down south towards Pittsburgh, you can find it all over Topeka, Lawrence, Manhattan. It's really, unfortunately, pretty widespread at this point.
Right. And what are some control options for people that are looking to treat this species?
Yeah, so there's a number of control options out there, and they sort of vary in their efficacy, and they vary in how much labor you're going to have to put forward to really get those on the ground working. So they can broadly be split up between chemical controls and mechanical controls. And I would really have to say that you need to use a combination of both if you're going to be effective. And there's no silver bullet. There's no sort of one intervention we can go out there and do one treatment that is then going to be successful for all time. The chemical controls broadly are into sort of foliar treatments where you can spray the leaves, or you can also go and do something like a cut stump or a basal bark treatment where you're actually going and spraying around the base of the shrub to control it. Mechanical treatments generally along the lines of going out and mowing, sometimes hand pulling small seedlings, but they're going to come back. It's really about trying to get ahead of it and getting back to a more manageable maintenance where you have something you can do. Kind of like you never mow your lawn once, you're always going to have to keep mowing your lawn. But if you wait to mow your lawn only once per year, it's going to be a task. Same thing with bush honeysuckle. If you try and only control it once every 10 years or once every 20 years or once every lifetime, it's really going to be a horrendous task.
So really keeping on top of it is key.
Yeah, and if we can get on top of it using some of the techniques that I've really been promoting, like fall application of glyphosate with a mist blower, that does allow you to get back to sort of a management regime where you really only have to maybe go in there every few years to keep ahead of it. And you will see, the beneficial parts of your woodland. You'll see that coming back. You'll see good vegetation coming back, and you'll see, more wildlife out there using it.
When we return, learn about the new program the Kansas Forest Service is offering with loaning out equipment free of charge right after these short commercial breaks.
Welcome to the Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center, right here in my hometown of Oakley, Kansas. We're the front door of Western Kansas, located on 3 main highways, I-70, US 83, and US 40. And all those roads lead to history, beautiful scenery, and adventure, no matter which direction you go. We now have an IHOP. That brand that you've trusted up and down the road in all your travels is staffed with local folks, real people, just like you and me, and we're waiting on you to join us. So for fun, adventure, fuel up, fuel your body, and let's have some fun.
I'm Bob Swartz, and I've devoted the last 43 years to helping Kansans reach their retirement goals and to protect the family farm. At Bob Swartz Financial, we believe everyone should be able to live the retirement they've always dreamed of. Our team of professionals can help you create an efficient strategy using a variety of investment vehicles to help you address your financial needs and your concerns. Bob Swartz Financial values commitment and transparency.
Okay, looks like it's time for our tour. Welcome to the Fort Wallace Museum. Here at the museum, you're going to find some really interesting stuff like our replica stagecoach from the Butterfield Overland Dispatch. We've got facades from the fort buildings. We've got an 1870s flag. There's a plesiosaur that was discovered locally. We've got the Ray pump organ collection. We're a little bitty place with a great big story, and we'd love to have you.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Wheat. Learn more at rediscoverwheat.org.
Welcome back to Ag Etc. I'm back with Ryan Armbrust from the Kansas Forest Service. And obviously with the chemical option, that requires equipment. And actually you at the Kansas Forest Service is kind of doing something cool and loaning out equipment. So go into that process.
Yeah, so we're fortunate in that we were able to secure some grant funding with our partners at the U.S. Forest Service and also our partners at the National Wild Turkey Federation to really put some of the specialized equipment out there throughout eastern Kansas, make it available to landowners and to public agencies and wildlife and parks folks. So we have backpack mist blowers that can be used to apply this herbicide in the fall, and they're out there available. We've got about, I think, 10 of them right now stationed all across eastern Kansas, and we've got those locations listed on our website, or you can just get a hold of me and I can help put any landowner in contact with where they can pick one up and use it. Again, and that's at no cost to the landowner. They have to supply the herbicide, but we supply the equipment.
Awesome. And as we know, fall in Kansas can be completely unpredictable with the weather in terms of application in these chemical applications. Does temperature make a difference?
It does, for sure. What we're looking to do is really have this chemical be taken up by the leaves and translocated into the stems and ultimately kill the plant. And that's going to be driven by, of course, what the plant's doing, the plant's physiology. And so if it's like it was yesterday morning when I got up 23 degrees out, there's not a whole lot of plant activity. And if you choose to try and spray when it's 20 degrees out, you're probably not going to have much luck, even if the leaves are still green. Having said that, of course, if we get a 90-degree day in the fall, you can get often more windy conditions, and you can have some off-target impact of that. That mist will actually physically, chemically drift onto perhaps other targets. So what we're looking for really is anywhere between, for killing honeysuckle, maybe 40 and 80 degrees is a pretty good window. And again, keeping in mind to limiting off-target impact, you want to select that window when only the bush honeysuckle is really green out there, and you don't have your desirable stuff like your oaks, or your desirable stuff like your cool season turf grass lawn that you're going to potentially impact.
Right. Absolutely. And if producers or anybody has questions about Asian bush honeysuckle, where would be a good resource to send them?
Yeah. So I'm based out of the Manhattan State Office. My contact information is on our website at kansasforests.org. We also have a number of district foresters out there throughout eastern Kansas. Their contact information is available on our website as well. And I'd encourage you to contact your local extension agent as well. We've tried to work very closely with the K-State extension agents to make them aware and have them be partners in this process. And they have truly been partners in helping to spread the message that we can kill honeysuckle, and it's worth trying to control.
Absolutely. Well, Ryan, thank you so much for being on our program.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
I'm Britton Rucker, and this has been Ag AM in Kansas.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well in their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, we're glad to answer it and work with you.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
ValleyVet.com is your one-stop shop for your every animal need. From prescription meds, vaccines, equipment, and more for the ranch to the show ring. Shop ValleyVet.com for fast shipping and great prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
This segment brought to you by Farm Credit Associations of Kansas, lending support to rural America, and by American Ag Service, your DuPont Pioneer dealer.
Welcome back to Ag AM in Kansas. I'm Britton Rucker, and for our Young Leaders in Ag segment, I have with me now Ashley Baum. Welcome, Ashley.
Hi, thank you.
Ashley, give us a bit of your background.
So I did not grow up in agriculture. I actually joined 4-H once we kind of moved out of the city, and kind of connected with friends and made friends through that, and learned that that's kind of something I wanted to do. So then I started showing cattle, and I showed cattle through my junior year at the national level.
And that actually led you to attend Kansas State University.
Yes, it did. So I actually grew a passion for ag and fell in love with the industry and everything. And so I decided that I really wanted to stay in the industry. And so I attended K-State for ag communications.
And through that experience, you actually started your own full-time photography business.
Yeah, so I have a photography and design company. It's called Western Heritage. And through there, I focus on my niche market of livestock photography, but also do portrait sessions, seniors, families, kids, anything like that. But then also in there, I do design work. So anything from custom ads or invites or anything like that, print ads, digital ads. So yeah.
Yeah. So anywhere from designing a flyer for a bowl sale to taking their family portrait is kind of where you're at.
Yes.
So if people want to get a hold of you to take some photographs or do some design work for their operation, where would they contact you at?
Yeah, so I have a website. It's called thewesternheritage.com. I also have a Facebook page and Instagram, and those are both also Western Heritage Photography Design. So just go on there, reach out to me any way that's easiest for them to do that.
Well, Ashley, thank you so much for coming on our program.
Thank you so much for having me.
At Farm Credit, we partner with America's farmers who work hard each and every day to grow the food that we all enjoy. It's not an easy task, but it's an important one. Farm Credit is proud to work with farmers and ranchers, lending support in rural America.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Corn. Learn more at kscorn.com.
I'm Britton Rucker, and this is Ag AM in Kansas. I'm with Northeast Area Extension agronomist Stu Duncan, who participates in bi-weekly crop updates with agents across Kansas. And today we're discussing some strategies for some dry weather ahead. Welcome, Stu.
Good morning. Pleasure to be here.
Like I said, you give some bi-weekly updates across the state. What are you seeing, Stu, in terms of crop conditions?
For the most part, we were set up really well heading into the fall. We now have growers that are concerned about their ponds, their hay supplies. I've seen some hay cut that normally isn't cut for hay, and so I mean in that respect, it's been, dry headed, and a lot of them have livestock. So that is part of our deal too with our agents.
Yeah. And Stu, what are some of the surprising things you've seen or noticed during this season in terms of crop production?
It's been a really, really crazy year. I mean, we were perfect for the most part. The far western part of the state, those guys are always under the brown or red, it seems like to me, in drought. And I don't get out there that much, but the couple of those agents, they keep me well in tune with what's happening out there. But really, the corn crop, even though August was that made the difference for all of our summer crops as far as I could tell. If the corn crop did not have much taken off the top of it, if it was planted fairly early, and by early I mean in depending on where you're at, but not real early, like early March would have been down in southeast Kansas. They were so dry they couldn't get anything out of the ground anyway down there. But it was later in the season, and most of that came off pretty well. Just one example is at Ottawa, over south of Lawrence, over there in Franklin County, at the experiment field. We had some corn plots that were planted normal times, just mid to late April, and dryland corn there made my plots and the fields around it made about 160 bushel, which is excellent for that area on dryland. Most of the crop I've heard has been well above normal. The heat in August came after most of it had flowered. If it was planted real late, it's going to have damage. Beans, on the other hand, we still had some really good beans in the state, but we would have had a lot more had we not had what we had in August, which was, it's not just the lack of precipitation, but soybeans will not hold a bloom or even a small pod when temperatures are 90 degrees or above. That's about the threshold for their tolerance for what we can do to them. And we had some top end yield taken off of a lot of those beans. There were some that were still really good, but I've got growers that I know and agents that I've talked to that have told me some of the fields, especially the dry lands, were running anywhere from 10 to 50 bushel in the same field. So you could spot every dry patch you had. Had a lot of good looking plants with not much on them. It's typical of what you sometimes see with beans. You just wish it was someplace else.
And there's been some real success with sorghum in Kansas too.
This has been, yeah, and I've not used to leaving that one out. The sorghum, I've seen the acreage dwindle and go down the last few years. I'm not sure everybody that planted sorghum this year really had intended to, but those that got it in, and especially, they are happy. The price was not, the differential between it and corn was not that great back in the last winter and early spring, but it's we've got some really good sorghum yields out there all over that central part of the state, and the guys have got a lot. Most of it's out already too that I've seen.
When we come back, learn if the expert recommends changing up seeding rates and hybrid selections for some dry weather ahead here on Ag AM in Kansas.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, cleaner American fuel. Message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Are you looking for Medicare supplement insurance plans? Now is a good time to look at your options with Kansas Farm Bureau Health Plans. A Medicare supplement insurance plan can help cover certain out-of-pocket expenses Medicare doesn't cover. Things like deductibles, co-insurance, and certain limitations that can be costly in the event of an accident or illness. With Kansas Farm Bureau Health Plans, you have options to Medicare supplement insurance plans with 4 levels of affordable coverage and service from an organization known for its commitment serving Kansans. We encourage you to compare our rates. For more information and to get a quote, contact a Farm Bureau Financial Services agent near you or visit kfbhealthplans.com. Medicare supplements insured by Members Health Insurance Company, Columbia, Tennessee. Not connected with or endorsed by the U.S. or state government.
At Farm Credit, we partner with America's farmers who work hard each and every day to grow the food that we all enjoy. It's not an easy task, but it's an important one. Farm Credit is proud to work with farmers and ranchers, lending support in rural America.
This segment brought to you by Santa Fe Trail Meats in Overbrook. Let us help feed your family.
Welcome back to Ag Etc. I'm back with Northeast Area Agronomist Stu Duncan over some strategies for some dry weather ahead. Stu, with prospect for a dry winter and maybe even a dry spring coming, what should we be looking at seeding rates and hybrid selections?
That's another really good question that I still don't have a very good answer to, other than yes, plan ahead. We don't. I'm thinking of 2015, the spring in particular. It was dry as a bone coming through winter.
Yeah.
We still had an almost record wheat crop, but the wheat crop, if you will look at, I had to go back and check and verify that for myself, and I was sure it was the 15 wheat crop that was short. I mean, like 8 to 10 inches shorter than normal, and about 2/3 of it was seed stock and head. I still had pretty doggone good yields that year and very good quality, but for the corn and the soybeans, for what I don't plan for a disaster, I guess is what I recommend. And I would say if you have the option for some drought tolerant hybrids, and especially with corn, I know there's some very good drought tolerant ones. Sorghum is normally drought tolerant anyway. You have the flexibility or market for changing the crop if you've gotten used to one versus the other. Sorghum is more drought and heat tolerant than corn, at least, if as long as we don't put corn in the cooker right around tasseling, which is one reason we started planting very early in central Kansas. That is that's an idea. Beans, of your normal maturity group is something to go with. Populations, that's something you can adjust at closer to harvest time if you need to, but you better have the seed on hand so you can get it. We've been in those situations where folks have been a little hesitant to purchase or to get what they think they need, and somebody else has got it before they can, and then they're stuck with something that may not fit their area that well. I'm going back 25 years now, thinking of when we had the freedom of when the 99 Farm Bill was approved, and we had folks looking for sorghum all over, and corn and beans all over central Kansas. They couldn't get what they wanted. Right. So that type of thing. I've seen more tillage this year versus last year versus the year before that, and that's essentially been for herbicide-resistant weed issues that we have had popping up. And to do the same thing and expect different results, we know what that definition is. It was from Al Einstein, and I think he knew a little more than me about some things. But just plan ahead.
Right.
Plan ahead. Write it down. That's even there's a novel idea. I have to fight myself on. Write it down and read it, review it. Seed rates, no, I'm not worried about that yet. You got to adjust that on the fly when you get to planting time and the outlook. It will rain again. Mm-hmm. And I think of 2015. I cut some brome that was at the early boot stage, and it put on 13 inches of growth after I cut it off because it started raining in early May and took it on. And it did the same thing for the spring crops we planted. It looked pretty bad.
But I mean, once again, just doing some research, the novel idea of writing it down. We all think we'll remember, but keeping a record of what you want to do in the next growing season are some simple tips that producers can certainly use on their operation.
Oh, it really is. I had my old coworker, an ag economist, had told me one time that a short pencil was better than a long memory. After I had dropped a big ball, I still don't get it always done, but intentions don't cut it. But you got to do it, even if it's on a piece of ratty paper.
Yeah.
But get it down so you can review it.
Absolutely.
Questions.
Well, Stu, thank you so much for being on our program today.
Thank you, Britton. It's always a pleasure. Appreciate it.
I'm Britton Rucker, and this has been Ag AM in Kansas. Thanks for watching Ag Etc. As always, I'm Britton Rucker, and I'll see you here next week here on Ag AM in Kansas.